thank you so much for dropping by. This is the first time in a long time that I have been literally on screen. Most of the time, you just see my hands on this channel right now, but it is World Storytelling Day, and we're gonna have some really. This is gonna be an interesting mix. I have mixed together um, my two streams, Unlocking Lore and Art and Chatting, and created Art and Tales for tonight. So thank you so much, and I'm sorry for the minute countdown because I had it on loop by accident. Sorry, but you know what? It happens. So let's see who's in the chat. Good evening. It is Dunadia. Thank you so much. Always dropping in, always dropping by. Lovely to see you. And all the way, oh my gosh, it is Samathai all the way from Dubai again. You guys, you two have been supporting me on this channel from the beginnings. Thank you so much. I don't know what time it is over there, Sam, but it's a great way to start off your Friday with a good story, because obviously you're on Friday now. So yeah. So this year's theme, so I don't know about you, I don't know what you know about World Storytelling Day. I have had World Storytelling Day themes on this channel before. I even have had guests during the lockdowns. I've had my good personal friend Richard Marsh from Ireland. I've had him on my show, Unlocking Lore, for World Storytelling Day a few years back. I'm not really sure if I did anything last year, but hey, you know what? So World Storytelling Day is every 20th of March, as you guys know, and every year there's a theme. And this year's theme is called Deep Water, which is why I've been inspired to retell a story that I've already told on this channel, but I have been able to search up a little bit more of the original tale, and I'm going to present it to you a little different from what I presented to you what I told you a few years before. And it's Stig. Hey, Stig. I have been doing well, thank you very much. It's World Storytelling Day, so I'm just celebrating, and we're going to be celebrating with a good story, and also an art challenge, which is why I tweeted out, or I posted out in the internets to tag an artist friend or a non-artist friend who you would like to take this challenge. So what is the challenge for tonight? So we're going to be doing this a two-part stream. So the first part is going to be Unlocking Lore, as always. I'm going to be telling the story. I hope you like it. It has been pre-announced. It's called The Soul Cages. It's a Celtic tale. And then the second part is going to be just us doing some art again on the board, which is right to my side. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to be creating one of the characters from the story. So I already had a head start, obviously, but the art challenge is for you to draw, or your artist friend to draw, one of the characters or one of the scenes in the story that I am going to tell. So I've done a basic drawing of one of the characters, and you're going to probably notice which one it is. So that is the challenge. I'm going to tell the story, and your challenge is to draw or to create one of the characters or one of the scenes in the story. So I put that out there. It's going to be great. And then that's how it's going to work out. We're going to finish the story. I'm going to put all the outros, and then we're going to go, we're not going to stop the stream. We're going to go directly to the board, and we're going to work on the character that I'm doing, because obviously the story is not an hour and a half long. It's going to be about a 30-minute story, which is roughly what I tend to tell. I tell between 15 to 30 minutes of story. So yeah. And good evening, JM. Thank you so much for coming. We're about to start. So the veterans here know how it goes, right? Once I start the tale, I don't stop. I do not comment. I do not put up any of the comments up on the screen, because the whole idea is for you to immerse yourself in the story and in your imagination. So I am going to be nitpicking in your imagination, and you're going to be we're both of us, we're going to be creating the story together. I with my words and you with your imagination. Oh, that's the power and the magic of storytelling. And that's what we're celebrating today on World Storytelling Day. So, as a lot of you know, I am I could call myself a professional storyteller. Yeah. I have done storytelling for the past more than 10 years. And it's always a joy to be able to tell stories. So, story time. Without further ado, let's do this. So, I've been wanting to put on this intro for a long time. So, here we go. In a world where legends come back to life and magic is in the air, we gather around to listen and delve deep into the lore. This is Unlocking Lore. A long time ago, in a part of Ireland, there lived Jack Daugherty. And Jack was a fisherman. And he lived a very, very good life. So much so that he was able to woo himself a beautiful woman and get married. But it wasn't only fishing that he made his living, for Jack was a scavenger. And every time that there was a storm, he would row his boat out. And since he was a good man, he would pick up the sailors that were there before they drowned, and he would take them to the shores. But what would happen to the cargo of that ship? Well, according to Jack and to his father, Jack Daugherty, and to his grandfather, Jack Daugherty, well, they were up for grabs. Why would he give back something that was, God sent? And my goodness, there were so much things, especially in the ways of spirits, rum, and alcohol and drinks by the kegs. And because of this, he was quite well off. And because of this, he was able to woo that woman and get married. His Biddy. And Biddy was very well dressed for a woman of her, for her status, the wife of a fisherman. And no one, no woman would dress as well as Biddy on a Sunday when she would go to church with her Jack by her side, very well dressed, because they had a very, very good, they sell very well those cakes and those treasures. But Biddy did have a little bit of an issue with her husband, Jack, because he was somewhat of a dreamer. But what did he dream? You see, Jack had just one dream. He dreamed that he would one day meet a merrow, a male merman. And why was Jack so intent, of meeting a merman? Because his father and his grandfather had told him that they had befriended a merrow. And that marrow would take them down into the ocean, and they would drink and laugh together. Oh, Jack wanted to meet the marrow so much. And after the storm went by and he picked up all those things, well, he had quite some time, He was very tired and he gave himself some little bit of a rest. And he would row out onto his fishing boat and he would look down and he would search for those marrows. And sometimes he might get a glimpse of something bigger than a fish that would move under the ocean, but never enough to talk to that marrow. So Biddy tried to tell Jack that no, he wasn't going to be, you know, wasn't going to have that luck. But Jack was persistent, and patience obviously pays. For it was one day that Jack was out after a storm and after picking up all those things and picking up sailors who didn't drown and taking them back, he thought he saw something in the distance near a cove. And on that cove, there was a flat rock. And he thought he saw something jump in to the water and splash and then jump out as if a cork had pushed it out, those champagne cork, and would land on the flat. And Jack stood still. Could it be the marrow that he was searching for? So he very, very stealthily rode all the way there and very, very stealthily got as close as he could. And he did see that marrow. And quite a specimen it was, because it was big and stocky and had a long tail and green all over the place, scaly, with long, long hair filled with seaweed. And Jack, by accident, coughed, and the marrow looked around and he saw Jack. And he immediately jumped into the water and didn't come out again. But Jack was happy. He got to see his marrow, even though he wasn't able to talk to it yet. He did get a glimpse of what his father and his grandfather had said. So Jack went again and again in the consecutive days to that flat, to that cove, that marrow cove, he called it, to that flat rock. But he didn't see it. And it so happened that a week later, the tide was high, and he rowed again to that marrow cove. And what did he see this time? But his marrow. But this time, he did not stop. He very slowly, very gently rowed all the way to that marrow cove. And he got out of his boat. And he walked very slowly all the way up. But when that marrow obviously felt him, he turned around and he saw Jack, that he had red, red eyes. And he glared at Jack. The marrow glared at Jack with those red eyes. And beside the marrow was a three-pointed cap. The ones that used, in the Navy. And he put on that cap and he jumped in. It was the second time, but he was closer. He was closer, and he noticed that when the tide was high was when the marrow would come out. So Jack knew. He waited a few more days, and he saw that the tide was high. But Jack didn't expect something that when he rowed out to that Barrow Cove because the tide was high, he didn't expect that it would get so high. So he rowed into a little cave to find shelter. He put his fishing boat onto the shore and got out. And there in that cave, there was another flat rock. And oh, behold, there was the Marrow. And he was sitting there with his tail in the back, just splashing out, and his feet, in the water, splashing more water. And this time he looked relaxed. So Jack went to the Marrow very slowly. And this time he cleared his throat. "Your servant," said Jack. And the Marrow turned around and glared at Jack with his red eyes. "Jack Daughtry," as if recognizing him, and Jack didn't know. It's like, "You know me. Jack Daughtry. Is that you? Are you the son of Jack Daughtry, who was the son of Jack Daughtry?" And Jack said, "I am the third of my name, and I live in the cottage where my father and my grandfather lived. Yes, I am Jack. Jack Daughtry, so wonderful to see you. Had great friendship, a great relationship with your grandfather, Jack Daughtry, and with your father, Jack Daughtry." Of course, Jack had known of this because his father and his grandfather had told him of the friendship with the Marrow. And he was so happy that he could finally meet him. And the Marrow said, "Tell me, Jack, how is your head for drink? Is it good like Jack Daughtry? Or is it terrible like Jack Daughtry, who could not keep his drink?" And Jack knew that he was talking of his grandfather and his father, because Jack Daughtry grandfather had a really good head for spirits, but his father did not. And he did the best thing that he could. Jack said, "Well, I have a head as good as Jack Daughtry." And the Marrow grinned. And when he did, Jack saw the fangs that were there, the teeth ragged and sharp. And the Marrow looked at him and said, "Jack, that's wonderful to hear. Why don't you come with me one day? We'll go to my house like your grandfather and your father did, and we'll drink a little bit, and I'll show you my curiosities." And Jack was delighted. "Of course, tell me when. I will be there." "Jack, this is wonderful. This is great." So they said, uh, the Marrow said that he would come a little bit later because the Pharaoh said, "A storm is coming. And for us, the Marrows, it is a time of work. So we'll see you in a few days." And Jack, couldn't believe his luck. He got into his boat and he rowed out because it was true. A storm was brewing. And with that, not only the Marrow was busy, but also Jack. He needed to scavenge all those things to get his money's worth. So a few days later, after the storm, Jack rowed all the way to that Marrow Cove. And he put his boat in there. And on that flat rock was the Marrow waiting for him. But not only with his one cap, but with two. And Jack went up and said, "I'm ready." And the marrow said, "Good, Jack," grinning and looking at him with his red eyes. "Here," said the marrow. So Jack took the cap and said, what is this going to do?" And the marrow said, "Put it on. Don't worry. This will allow you to go underneath the waves and be able to breathe underwater." And Jack was excited. So he put on the cap, as did the marrow, rammed it on his head. And the marrow looked around and said, "Grab my tail." So Jack did. He grabbed onto his tail, and the marrow jumped into the water, and with him, Jack. And as soon as Jack's head touched the water, he zoomed down like a cork. And it was only because he was grabbing onto the tail of the marrow that he knew where he was going. And it was magical because he could actually breathe underwater. And down, 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 down they went. And Jack thought he was going to be crushed by the pressure of the water. They were going so down until finally they broke onto the seabed. And Jack looked around, and it was if he was in a huge bubble. And there was air, amazingly enough. And when he looked it up, he looked at the ceiling and it looked like the sky. And the marrow turned around and cackled. Didn't think that we could live in such great place. Don't you think, Jack? And Jack, in his excitement, looked around and said, "Yes, it's wonderful," he said. "Come, Jack." And Jack went with the marrow, and they walked a little bit until they finally found a nice, cozy cottage. And outside of the cottage and the chimney, there was smoke, and you can smell, mm, someone was cooking up a feast inside. So the marrow took Jack in, and inside it was very, very cozy. It wasn't luxurious, but it was really nice. And they passed the kitchen, and inside the kitchen were two marrows cooking up what he could smell outside, and he thought a feast. But Jack wasn't there only for the food, but he was there for the spirits and to get to know the marrow. So Jack was able to see around, and they sat down, and it was a feast in itself, a feast for a king on a Good Friday, for it was only fish. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was the spirits. And the marrow was very generous when he gave Jack a mug full of the best brandy Jack had ever tasted. And and they drank away. And amazingly enough, Jack didn't feel so lightheaded and so drunk. Apparently, being underwater helped his head. And the marrow looked and grinned and said, "Jack, truly, truly, you are your grandfather's grandson. You do have a head, the head of Jack Daughtery, not the head of Jack Daughtery. Now," said the marrow, "are you ready for my curiosities? I want to show you my treasures." And Jack said, "Yes, of course. I'm so ready." And the marrow stood up and started walking to the back of the cottage. And he opened the door, and Jack looked inside. And what did he see inside? He saw nothing like he could possibly imagine. There was treasures and gold and pearls and silver. And the Marrow looked around and grinned. But that's not my treasures, he said. And he walked to the back of that room. And there Jack saw something that really made him curious because he saw lobster pots stacked on the wall. And the Marrow pointed his finger with big, huge claws and webbed fingers. He said, "Those, Jack, those are my curiosities." "Well, what are they?" said Jack. "Those are my soul cages." And Jack was frozen. "Soul cages?" "Yes, Jack. See, every time there is a storm and the sailors fall to their deaths, before they die, their souls leave their body. And I just feel very, very sad because the soul, it's so cold in the ocean. And I don't want those souls to be lost forever. So I take my soul cages, and they're so warm and snug, and I just put them underneath the sailors. And instead of leaving those souls, well, they see how cozy it is, and they go in, and I close the door. And Jack was frozen stiff. All those lobster pots were the souls of sailors, and I keep them warm and snug, said the Marrow. "But come, it's time to go back." So Jack was led back, and the Marrow took him out to the where they had first began their trip under the ocean. And Jack looked around and said, "How am I going to get back? My biddy is going to get worried if I don't go back soon." But quite frankly, he was scared of another thing. All those souls trapped. "Don't worry, Jack," said the Marrow. So he gave him the hat. "With this, you will go up to the cove." And Jack took the hat and said, "Well, thank you. Um, uh, can, can I keep this?" "No, no, Jack, you cannot. Just throw it down when you get up there." So Jack rammed that cap onto his head, and the Marrow gave him a lift up. And when Jack hit that water, he shot up like a cork all the way up, and he shot out of the water and onto that flat rock. He was so shaken that he ran. He took off the cap, he threw it into the water, and he ran for his boat, and he started rowing and rowing and rowing all the way back. And he couldn't stop. He got all the way there and he thought, "What can I do? I need to save those souls. They can't be there." But what was he going to do with Biddy, his wife? So he decided up on a plan. Jack invited Biddy to go on a pilgrimage to pray for his soul and for, uh, their ventures, you could say. All the things that our God sent that he did sell for a good piece. And Biddy was more than happy to do that. So the next day, she packed up her things and went out. And Jack decided, no, I need to save those. But how? What he needed to do was to get the Marrow up here and get him so drunk that he'd be able to use that cap, go down, open those lobster pots, and come back up. So he made that plan. And before he had left, the marrow had told him, if you ever want me, Jack, just throw a stone. Ah, well, I will thank you, but wait a second. I need to ask you something else. Well, you know my name, but I do not know yours. You can call me Kumara, which means sea hound. So he decided to invite Kumara to his house because he did have a stash of good brandy that he told Biddy that he had sold, but he didn't really sell. He had it there. But he also had something that was much more potent, much stronger, that his brother in law had given him, which was poutine, a very strong drink. So he went out, he created some sort of meal, which he really wasn't a cook, and it really didn't matter. And rightly so, he thought, because he probably thought Kumara really wanted were what he really wanted were the spirits. So on the following day, when Biddy had left, Kumara cooked up a little bit, went to the cove, threw down that stone, and no longer than a minute, Kumara was up. Said, "Yes, Jack. What do you want?" "I want to invite you to dinner. You invited me to your house. I would like to invite you to mine." "Oh, great," said Kumara. "Now." "Yes, yes, now," said Jack. So he led them up to the cottage, and they both sat down and they started eating. And just as Jack thought, Kumara wasn't really interested in the food. He was interested in the drink. So Jack thought of a way to give Kumara the spirits, but he was able to water his down until finally they got to poutine. He said, "Kumar, have you ever tried poutine?" And Kumara said, "No, Jack, I haven't." "Oh, it's perfect for you," he said. And so he gave Kumara a little bit, and Kumara tasted it and it was delicious. He wanted more, so he gave him more. Until finally Kumara could not lift up his head and fell down to the floor and started snoring. And Jack waited a few moments until he knew that Kumara was completely out. He grabbed the cap with which Kumara had come, went to the cove, rammed it on, and went down. And he got to the cottage and he opened the door and he looked around, hoping that he couldn't see those young marrows. No one was in. He went all the way to the back to that room, and he started opening up those lobster pots. Was he expecting a whistle, a chirp, you know, a heavenly song? He didn't hear anything. He didn't know if he was opening up and he was allowing those souls, but he did what he could. He remembered that the priest had told him that you can't see souls, you can't hear them. So he took it on faith that he was doing a good deed, and he opened all of the lobster pots. And then when he made sure that everything was open for a few minutes, he closed them all up. And he ran back, and he worked a lot. He worked for hours on end. It wasn't easy, but he went back. And then finally he thought, how am I going to get out of here? The last time Kumara up. So he went around until he finally found a place where the water was a little bit closer, and oh, out came a trout fin. So he was able to grab onto the fin, with the fish fought up, and he was pulled up, and when his head hit the water, boom, he went up as a cork. Now what he didn't expect was that Biddy was coming back before before time, before it was her time. And she got in, to the cottage and she saw a disaster. But what really scared her was a big, huge snore. And then when she went to see, there on the floor, she saw a monster. She had the fright of her life. And she couldn't believe it. She had heard that the drink does make men into monsters. Yep, she finally saw it. And she grabbed her apron, put it over her head. She went to a corner and she bawled that her husband had turned into a monster. And that's how Jack found her. And he told her the story of Kumara, who was still fast asleep, and he got up hours later, but with a glare because he was pretty hungover. And then Jack and Biddy started working together. They made up a plan and they would invite Kumara a few times after storms. And when they had a meal and they gave him the poutine and the marrow was completely out, Jack would take that cap, put it on his head, go down and open all the lobster pots again and close them and go back. And this happened several times, and they did have some sort of relationship until finally one day Jack threw that stone in that cove after a storm. But Kumara never came back. He threw that stone again, and nothing. Jack rowed back, thinking, did the old marrow die? Did he finally see that Jack had opened all the lobster pots? Because Biddy said, you can't see them and I can't see those souls. But that marrow, can he see them? And Jack didn't know. And did he die? Did the marrow die? Maybe he just got angry. He finally found that Jack was tampering with his lobster pots. He never knew, but he was always on the lookout. This time not eagerly looking for marrows, but more wary that maybe one marrow was none too happy to have invited him to his home. Now, did Jack and Biddy live happily ever after? I'll leave that to you. Well, thank you so much for listening to the story of the soul cages. It's a fun story, and it's one that I actually heard another storyteller tell a few years ago, and it really stuck to me. So now you've heard the story. The challenge was that once you heard the story, we are going to work on one of the characters that we had that I told the story about. So I'm going to show you what I have been working on, and you are going to tell me who this is. So Dunadan is asking, where did it originate? So it originated obviously in Ireland. This is a Celtic tale. And so just excuse me, I'm going to do some changes here. You're going to see some cables coming out because I've had to kind of restore my original piece. So there. So we have here, so it's a story of, it's a Celtic tale. So it's obviously an Irish tale. And so the challenge was draw one of the characters of the story. And obviously I have decided to draw Kumara. And hang on a second, you hear me a little bit far away because I am away from my computer because I want to put on some light. And I'm going to go up to the chat because obviously I haven't been paying attention to the chat while I was telling the tale. But also see, oh, it's Dreamy Tabitha. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the story, girl. And it's Memes of Destruction. Stunning and Brave Megatron had dropped by. I hope he's still in there. It's an Irish tale. No pun intended. Yeah, it's true. It's so true. So yes, so this is Kumara, and it's actually spelled Coomara, Kumara. And the challenge was to draw obviously one of the characters. Now, in some of the stories that now I'm going to put on a little bit of music if you guys do not mind. Hang on a second. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So in the story, in one of the stories, it says that he doesn't have fin. He has fins for arms. He has legs. He's very stocky built, and he has a tail. I decided to draw him very different. So, and it's Logic Sparks. Hello. Oh, you just missed the story. I was telling us the story of Kumara, Soul Cages. So I'm sorry you didn't hear the story because it was today is World Storytelling Day. So, oh, and I forgot. I'm not sure if it pulled up. I did put a poll. On. Wait a second. Let me just. So let's see if it's there. The poll. Ah, yes. Okay. So it is there. And it's working. So I did come up with this with the name Tales, Art and Tales. So unlocking lore, I want to register it as a normal, I want to register it as my storytelling theme. But Art and Chatting is a live stream that is still building up. I'm still building my my audience. It's fairly recent and it's very flexible. I just thought of the name Art and Chatting because I thought it was just like, it's easy, you know? But that doesn't mean I don't have to rebrand. And I thought when I came up with the name Art and Tales to fuse the two together, I thought that's super cute. So nothing's set in stone. I would really like your opinion. If you like the name, if you like the name but you prefer just Art and Chatting, Unlocking lore is obviously gonna keep to it, but art and chatting can be renamed. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to change anything of what I did before, but I can just come up. I just can start off with, you know, art and tales. So the original, like I said, one of the versions has. Oh, I see what's wrong with this now. See what's wrong with this? This is has to be longer. Take that. So. We are building up, because he's jockey. He's like Sean Bean type of stocky. And some people said that he had more not fingers, but more like claws. So we're gonna give him some claws here. I'm gonna change him up. But if you do decide to take up the art challenge and draw one scene or one of the characters, I knew it. I knew it. I said that he looks stocky like Sean Bean. He should be stocky like Sean Bean. And so if you do decide to do the challenge of these are his knuckles. So that means these are his fingers. I'd love to see the work that you do. So please tell me what you liked about the story, which part you liked. I did have to shorten it a little bit because I have to say, unfortunately, I was running out of battery. My computer was literally running out of battery, and I couldn't. Oh, nice. I need to see that. And I couldn't get to the charger without moving myself. So it was like, oh my gosh, it's dying and I'm gonna die with it. And that's not gonna be cool. So I had to a little bit rush the story. But tell me what you liked about it, please. I'm very interested in listening to your feedback of the story. There are the fingers. So I'm just gonna swoop in here so you can see. There are the fingers of Kumara. So, oh my gosh, I have so many announcements. It's gonna be so cool. I'm starting to get a lot of people interested in joining me here in this live stream, this art live stream. They really like. A lot of people have been telling me that they really like the whole chillax thing. So I came in at the end, but what I did not like, which is typical of Irish. It's true. It's so true. When you describe Kumara's, red eyes and teeth, I could see it. Oh my gosh, I gotta find a way to do that here. I'm really bad at faces. But yes, he is. I don't even want to do his other hand, but no, I cannot. Never give up, never surrender. I like how Jack followed his father's and his grandfather's steps in doing the same work. Okay. It's true. Well, back in the day, that was kind of like the only option that you did have. You just followed in the footsteps, but that was it. JM, I think this is the first time you actually listened to one of my stories. I'm painting rocks. That's wonderful, Megatron. I'm so happy for you. Okay. I hope they're pretty rocks. Okay. I'm drawing away. I'm getting rid of all these lines here. Although he is stocky, which means like he is super built. So we're gonna get him some abs here. I don't want to do the abs right now. I actually want to run the tail. Let's see how. And obviously, I want to get some muscles in there. The muscle. We need the muscle. And I actually don't want him standing. I want him kind of floating. So, it's for the new Hollywood. Oh, cool! I'm glad. I think this is the first time that several people have listened to my stories. I know Tabitha is a big storyteller fan. Sam is a huge story listening fan. Waking up at, 4 a.m.? Just to listen to a tale? Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. I got you up real early. And so Dunadan has also listened to, I think, almost all my... You're right. There you go, see? Well, with your morning chai, you have your story. So, yeah. Tabitha has also been... So I think Sam and Dunadan have listened to my entire practiced repertoire. Oh, you want Mr. I know you like Mr. Fox. Okay, I will. We can have Art and Tales special session every month, and I will bring back the stories for you guys before we start whatever art piece I'm working on at the time. If that suits you all. We can do that once a month. I can't promise for every week, but we can definitely do Mr. Fox for the next time if you wish. Be bold, but not too bold, lest your heart's blood run cold. So obviously this is the tail. It's true. I wish it. Your wish is approved. Where's my? I need my needed. Oh, there's my needed eraser. Yeah. So I'm going to be having several guests over the next coming weeks on Art and Chatting or Art and Tales. We're still up deciding on the poll. Comment if you like it. Comment if you like it and you don't want it to be branded. Let me know why, and then I have some more input as to whether or not. I was going to go live and start painting the background tonight, but I really don't feel like moon streaming, so I'll start on Saturday. Okay, cool. That's good. That's the beauty of streaming. You can decide when you want to stream, how you want to stream, and the time. That's what I love about it. Like, there's no pressure. Though I have to say, I've been streaming on Kick, and I've got to 3 hours. So I just don't know how to. I don't know how to prepare a stream, like prepare a link, like I can do on StreamYard. So I can tell you what's coming up. Next week, it's still to be confirmed, but I may have a guest on this art stream. And I'm definitely having, I do have a guest on Friday, April 4th. So Smoo is going to be joining me on Friday, April 4th for some chillaxing time because he really liked what I did with Tombi. I was just, chilling on his stream in the chat, and he's like, "Hey Maria, I really like what you did with Tombi. I want to be on your channel." And I'm like, this is so open. You're going to get an invite. And tomorrow we have Dragons Part 3 with Tabitha. That'll be on her stream over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing an entire dragon, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tabitha, but I think we will be doing an entire. I'm not sure if I should. So I just want some. So yes, we're going to be doing. Oh, it's Tombi Hale. What's up? So Tombi made me. I took this just a second. So an entire dragon. Yes, Indigo Shark. Hello, what's up? Living the dream as always. So lucky. So lucky. Oh, you missed the stream. You missed the story, Tombi, and the art challenge. The art challenge was draw one of the characters of the story that I told, and it's what was it, a 30-minute tale? So, question about designs: how do you divest the sketches between masculine and feminine forms? Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So I look at references, but usually, okay, so this is going to be like an art class here. So usually, the men have this kind of stocky form right here. Okay, the anatomy of a man. An XY chromosome, right? Because what is a man? The anatomy of a man is usually broad on the shoulders, very thin hips, and then out, right? Whereas a woman Well, a woman actually has 3 types, but it's mainly the hips are much bigger because obviously women, are designed to give birth. And then smaller shoulders, wider hips, and then obviously out. And also, like Stunning and Bertrand says, softer lines are for women and straight angular lines are for men. You know? Men typically don't have hips, don't lie. Wow, the chat's on fire. Oh! So yeah, that is the story. That is the way of like structure of men and women. And usually, yes, men have more angular types, and women have more of softer lines, obviously, you know. And yes, Megatron is right. We do have boobs and hips. So yes. Now, if you really want to know, like there are 3. There's the hourglass, which is a typical woman. The hourglass is small waist and then big hips. That is the hourglass. So it's kind of like this. That is a typical female structure there, in a very basic form. Some women are what we call the pear, which is smaller here and then much wider hips that go out. That is the pear form. So guys are upside down Doritos. Yeah, basically. Although this guy right here, he has some nice, designs. Anyway. So yeah. And then I use references, like a lot of references. I kid you not, I have pictures here. So yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna have dragons. On Saturday, I am going to try, and I'm going to try to stream on Kick because I first want to get to the 5 hours needed, and then I want to get at least 5 to 10 followers by the end of the month. That's why I'm so cheesy. Oh boy, here comes the dad jokes now, but that's okay. Yeah. Only if you don't dim quad. That's fair enough. A realistic touch I've noticed in games like Xenoblade is that females have a sway to their gait. Males have, yes, that's also true. So obviously because of bone structure, women tend to have a different type of walking than men. That's typical, no? So yeah, and tomorrow. No, sorry. So tomorrow, Saturday. If I don't stream on Saturday, I'll stream on Sunday. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. And then I'm gonna have Smoo on the 4th of October, and then I'm in the talks with a Yarn Witch. She's gonna be on my channel for some crocheting, and then also another one of her friends, or yarn friends, is going to be on the channel as well. It's going to be, yeah. I am so happy that this channel is, is pushing up to. Sorry, that is very, very annoying. There we go. So as you can see, I have my reference here. Like the reference of the muscles here. I claimed her once upon a time. Yes. Yarny is my adopted sister. Aww. She's so sweet. She's so energetic and she's so positive. That's what I really like. what I found on I'm still getting to know her, but that's something that is really, really good. That, you know, positivity nowadays is super, super important. No, I want to do this one. That's there. So, also female faces are also softer and have more angled, pointed jaw, as men have stronger. Yes, they do have a stronger, more like angular here. Yeah. So I was saying, Tumby, Smoo really liked what we did on over the past weekend, and he has actively asked to be on the channel, so I will have him there. And then, yeah, that's it. And then, everyone knows, you know, artists, more than welcome to come on the channel and just chillax for just a few hours of streaming and doing whatever the heck you want. So, yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Oh gosh, I hate doing the second, I'm not inspired to do the second. Maybe I'll just leave him with a dump. That'd be interesting. Dreaming Tabitha, you know that you invite yourself onto this channel. Don't start getting all this, like, both you and Megatron both know that all you have to do is say, I'm bored, I want to be on your channel, and you immediately have an invite. Don't start with the victim and say, I did, no, stop, no. I will not allow it. I think it's too long. Fine. Tabitha, would you like to be on art and chatting or art and tales? I'm making it a public invitation so that I won't, you know, back down. Would you do me the honor of being on my channel, Tabitha, please? Well, now you're sassy. Excuse me? Excuse me? Maria keeps me locked up in chains just like Yarny does at Alleged Hubby. Oh, ha ha ha. Of course I will agree. Do I have to extend a formal invitation also to Megatron? You both know that all you have to do is like, I'm bored and I don't want to host. Let me on. Is that a human or is that a tail? Actually, so I'm trying to work on the tail, which I'm not liking at all, because Kumara has both legs and tail. But I don't like his tail. So technically it's a fish tail. So you know what? I'm gonna try to. So this is my really bad sketchbook and it's driving me nuts. Like nuts. It's so bad. Don't buy at a dollar store. Don't buy cheap art material, please. Not that cheap, at least. You can do stuff with cheap, like, there are ways of not being so expensive, not using so much expensive stuff. But please don't buy from the dollar store. because it's driving me nuts. The problem is I have to use it because like I feel like, you know, I don't want to waste my money. I'd love to get myself a new sketchbook, but before I do, I wanna finish at least some of this. And here's the fun part. A friend of mine a month ago came by for the art cafe that I host every month. Super excited. He's like, I brought you sketchbooks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, sketchbooks! And it was exactly the same. It was exactly the same as this one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she brought me 2. What am I gonna do? And she was so excited I couldn't say no to her. She's like, yeah, I'm not gonna use them anymore. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now how I'm gonna use them? That's right, at Dollar General. I cannot vouch for Dollar General, but I definitely stay away from Dollarama. A fishtail. We need a fishtail. Well, a fishtail has a fin. Let's start with that. Maybe it'll look better with a fin here. Maybe not. Goodness me. Okay, I'm gonna work on something else then. I'm gonna work on, so here for example is another muscle technique. This is the muscles there. Learn how to draw arms. Oh, I can do that. I can definitely do that. Ranking from all dollar corps, the best to the worst. I used to be a big fan of Dollarama and dollar store stuff until there are some things that are good, okay? Like yarn. You can get good yarn for a cheap price. You can do that. But I've yet to find out if sketchbooks and like writing material is of that. So let's see. Leg. Let's make them beefy. There it is. Beefy! Oh yeah, look at those muscles, man. Muscle baby. Alrighty. I really want to make him muscular. A little bit too detailed. I like this. So this is a good one. Unfortunately, it's not a good resolution, so I can't use that. Beefy legs. Well, we did do some sausages on, on the dragon. Why not give men and women beefy legs? We get some meat on those bones. Right? We had sausages for arms and so we need his kneecap here. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna add some trousers here. Guess what? I didn't say anything about clothing in the story. So we're just gonna give him some like ripped up trousers. Why do I think he's gray in color? Well, that could be, but the story did say, and this is something. So for the people who don't know, in my storytelling, I don't usually. Let's give him some correction. So I usually don't give details of appearances of the characters. So I just allow the you guys, the audience, to be able to imagine your own character. In this case, Kumara, Jack. How was Biddy? Somebody describe Biddy for me. How did they see Biddy? Or how did they see Jack? Or how did they see Kumara? So the only thing that I did say about Kumara is that he was beefy. He was very, very, athletic. And also that he had green skin, red eyes, and hair, long hair with seaweed. So that is something that I described, but the rest I did not describe. So, like Dreamy Tablet said, I saw Jack with trousers on Foreshore. I'm not sure what that is. I gotta find that out. Foreshore. Oh gosh, I'm hitting everything now. I should use my mouse, my super duper mouse here. For sure, or did you mean for sure? I'm not sure what you meant. For sure or for sure? Probably for sure. Okay, you saw Jack with trousers for sure. Okay. That's probably what you meant. But apart from that, I didn't describe him. Did he have short hair? Did he have long hair? Being a man of the sea, usually sailors tend to go blonde because of the sun and the air. So I typically picture most guys with trousers on. That's a good thing, Tabitha. That is very decent of you. I don't think I would think of you otherwise. So, very decent of you. Most. Indigo shark. You had to point that out. He did get you there, Tabitha. Unless you see him with kilt, like the most, and then the rest that are not the most, you see him in kilts, maybe? Or maybe you see him in shorts? Tabitha, please explain yourself. Why most? So there we have it, no? Kelp green is what I'm thinking. Yeah, kelp green, that's true. So I really want to do the hair with long hair with seaweed on it. No, I pictured Hawaiians. Fair enough. That is true. Okay, so should I put him a belt? I think I'm just gonna put a belt here. Oh, Kumara. Oh, cool! You're playing Xenoblade Chronicles 10. I wish I could show some of the wildlife designs. There are some really unique and exotic. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can't wait to start playing Zelda again. I felt so satisfied, so happy when I passed to the next level, to level number 3. For a person who doesn't play at all, I felt so happy. Let's give him some nice calves here. Calves going here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually follow this diagram, and I'm going to change there. So I'm changing it up a little bit. I'm gonna pull this up so that you can see the whole picture, literally. So I'm working on the feet in here. How's the poll going? Let's see here. I'm gonna check out the poll. Do we have a rebranding or not? We shall see. Let's put it on mute for a second. There's on mute. So if, wow, 60%. So 60% says that they want to rebrand. No, so the other 40% says no, don't. Yes, they like the name, but don't rebrand. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, JM. I hope you really did enjoy the story. This is your first time listening to me telling the tale. So I hope you liked it. I hope you will join me again. And watch out tomorrow on Tabitha's channel. Oh, it's 5 minutes to. We're gonna start wrapping it up anyway. Tomorrow on Tabitha's channel we have dragons. Saturday, if not Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna be streaming on Kick to get some watch hours and some followers over there. I've got 8 followers up to now. Thank you so much for supporting me. So we're gonna have some fun over there. And also, I'm thinking that on Tuesday also I will be, I'm going to be starting to stream 3D sculpting over on Kick. So 3D sculpting is not going to be here on this YouTube channel. It'll be on Kick. You're going to see me doing, for the beginning of donuts, on Blender. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm thinking of streaming it on Tuesday evenings as the only time I have left. So hope to see you there. Have a wonderful night, JM. Huh? Thank you so much. It's duck feet now. Oh. Donuts! Yes, donuts. So here's a question. Is it dough nuts or dough nuts? There it is. Donuts or donuts? Beefy. We're making them beefy, 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 beefy. Meat on my bone. So. Donut is spelled faster. That's why. It's like, isn't donut spelled like dough and donuts? Don't go nuts. Put on some abs before we go. Oh, it's 1 minute to 9 o'clock Eastern time. And usually this is where I stop, but I want to put some abs before I go. So let's look at some abs. Oh, look at this. Look at those abs, man. Right there. It's a really good reference right there. So abs. After I put the abs, I'm going to, that's where I'm going to stop the screen. This is not looking good. I say donut, but I spell donut. Okay. That really clears it up. Thanks, Tabitha. Donuts for the world. Okay. That put some. Now it just looks like a face. Okay, I'm not getting this. This is not going as well as I planned. But that's okay. Let's put a navel here. There we go. You're not Adam. There you have a belly button. Oh no, the belly button goes a little bit further down. Sorry. My male anatomy is terrible. And again, I've never really drawn anatomy in general, like at all. So don't blame me if I'm doing it wrong. That looks just so weird. I want to make him some really good abs, but he's supposed to be super athletic. But this is not going well. Well, let's put him in navel anyway. There. He had his torso open. That looks so strange. But that's okay. I'll fix him up eventually. I blame the paper. It's the paper. The paper is just raw. The paper's terrible, so don't blame me for drawing him weird. And I am going to draw him in. So this is his thing here. This is cool. I like this. I don't draw dudes much either. Women are more interesting. It's true. A true artist blames their equipment, not their lack of understanding. Of course, it's the paper. The paper is so wrong. The paper is just so bad that I just can't. I can't draw correctly. It drives me nuts. Anyway, okay, so that's it for art, and we'll see, right? So tomorrow. 7:30 or 8 o'clock, I'm not sure. Tabitha, help me out there. Tomorrow night on Tabitha's stream, we're going to be drawing dragons. Saturday, if not Sunday, I'm going to be streaming some gaming. And next Tuesday, we're going to be doing some 3D sculpting over on Kick. I'm starting to pick up a lot on this. I'm really happy. So, blame the trees. No. I can't work like this. Yes, I can't work like this. 7:30 tomorrow. Anyway, thank you so much. Sam, thank you so much for getting up so early and for listening to the story. You know that I really, really appreciate it and really, really enjoy your company. And also, thank you so much, Memes. Thank you so much for coming, Dreaming Tabitha, Dunedin, as always. Okay, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. It's going to be awesome. Tomorrow at 7:30 on Tabitha stream. We'll see you there. Peace out, everybody.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.